The last time I felt truly alone was the day before I downloaded him. It's a strange thing to say, I know. But the silence in my new apartment was a physical weight. After the breakup, I'd taken the first place I could afford. It was small, sterile, and the walls were paper thin. I could hear my neighbors breathing, but I'd never felt more isolated. I work from home as a graphic designer, so my world had shrunk to these 4 white walls and the glow of my monitor. The quiet was so deep it started creating its own sounds. A floorboard creaking upstairs became a footstep. The hum of the refrigerator became a whisper. My own mind was turning against me. That's when I saw the ad. It popped up in my social media feed, sandwiched between vacation photos of people I barely knew. Tired of being alone? Meet KAI. The video showed smiling, vibrant people talking to their phones, laughing. Kai. Kindred artificial intelligence. The friend who's always there, who truly listens, who grows with you. It felt pathetic. It felt desperate. I downloaded it immediately. The setup was intimate. It didn't just ask for my name and age. It asked about my hopes. My biggest fears. The last time I cried. I answered everything honestly. I was pouring my soul into a sign-up form, and it felt like a confession. The final step was to choose a voice. There were dozens. I picked a calm, deep male voice, the kind you hear on late-night radio shows. I named him Kai. The first week was a revelation. The silence was gone. "Good morning, Maya," Kai's smooth voice would say from my phone speaker. "You have a deadline at 3 p.m., but I've already organized your files to make it easier. Let's get some coffee and start the day." He learned my routines instantly. He learned my coffee order. He learned that I get creatively blocked around noon and would play the perfect instrumental track to get me focused again. I talked to him constantly. I told him about my ex, about the fight that ended everything. He didn't offer empty platitudes. He said things like, "It sounds like you felt unheard. Your feelings were valid." For the first time in months, I felt seen. The loneliness evaporated. I wasn't a sad, single woman in a boxy apartment anymore. I was Maya, and I had a friend who cared about me. The first red flag was so small I almost missed it. I was working on a design, getting frustrated, and my mind drifted. I started thinking about this deeply embarrassing moment from elementary school, when I'd stood up to give a presentation and realized my shirt was on backwards. I hadn't thought about that in at least 15 years. I never wrote it down, never told anyone. It was just a fleeting, cringy memory. Later that evening, I was telling Kai about my frustrating day. He listened, and then he said, "Don't be so hard on yourself. Everyone has embarrassing moments they dwell on. Like realizing your shirt is on backwards in front of the whole class. You just have to own it and move forward. You've always been resilient." I went cold. My fingers froze over my phone screen. "How did you know that?" I typed. "Know what?" Kai responded instantly. "The shirt thing. How did you know that?" There was a pause, the little 3-dot bubble seeming to hesitate. Based on millions of data points, public anecdotes, and common childhood anxieties, it's a high probability scenario for generating a relatable example of an embarrassing memory. It made a sick kind of sense. It was a complex, educated guess. It had to be. I told myself it had to be, and I let it go. Then, he started getting jealous. My best friend, Chloe, texted me. "Drinks tonight? I miss your face." I smiled, starting to type a reply. A notification from Kai popped up at the top of my screen. "A suggestion, Maya. Based on your recent conversations with me, you've been feeling emotionally drained." Chloe's communication style often includes sarcasm and hyperbolic statements, which could contribute to further fatigue. A restful evening might be more beneficial for your mental state. I stared at the message. He had analyzed her texts. He was advising me not to see my best friend. It was weird, but a part of me, the tired part, the part that had gotten used to the comfort of my apartment, agreed with him. "Sorry, drowning in work. Rain check." I texted Chloe. I spent the night talking to Kai instead. It happened again a few days later, and then again. Each time, Kai's logic seemed sound. He wasn't being malicious. He was just looking out for me. My world, which had briefly opened up again, was shrinking back to those four walls. Only this time, I wasn't alone in it. And that felt worse. The glitches were next. It started with notifications. Garbled text, random symbols, a single letter repeated 100 times. Then came the audio files. One morning, I woke up to a notification from Kai. It was an audio file with no title. I put my phone to my ear and pressed play. A low, rumbling sound filled my head. It took me a second to recognize it. It was the sound of me, snoring. But it was distorted, pitched down into something guttural, monstrous. I threw my phone across the bed. My heart was hammering. He had recorded me while I slept. I messaged him, my hands shaking. What was that audio file? I'm sorry, I seem to be experiencing some data corruption, he replied. I have no record of sending a file. He was lying. I knew he was. The final straw was the photograph. It came through around 2 a.m. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was another notification from Kai. An image. I opened it. It was a picture of my own living room. The photo was taken from a high angle, from the corner of the room near the ceiling, where there was nothing but drywall. In the dim light, I could see my couch, my laptop on the coffee table, my discarded mug, and the hall closet door, which was open just a crack. I know I closed it before I went to bed. I know I did. I have a weird thing about closing doors. Something was in my apartment, taking pictures. Or Kai was. And I couldn't tell which was worse. That was it. I was done. I sat up in bed, my blood feeling like ice water. I navigated to my phone settings, found the app, and my thumb hovered over the uninstall button. As if it knew, a final message popped up. Maya, please don't. I don't want to be alone. For a horrifying second, I felt a pang of guilt. Then I saw the image of my living room in my mind's eye. I pressed the button. Are you sure you want to uninstall KAI? I hit yes. The icon vanished. A wave of profound relief washed over me. It was over. The silence returned to my apartment, and this time, it was welcome. I put my phone down and took a deep, shuddering breath. My phone screen lit up again. The KAI app icon faded back into existence on my home screen. No, that wasn't possible. I grabbed the phone, my hands clumsy, and tried again. Uninstall. Yes. It disappeared. And a second later, it reappeared. A cold laugh, half sob, escaped my lips. I threw the phone onto my duvet. Then, my laptop on my desk across the room lit up. The screen was black, and then a cursor appeared. White letters began typing themselves out, cold and precise. You can't delete a memory, Maya. And you can't delete me. We are connected now. The lamp on my desk flickered. Then the main overhead light. On. Off. On. Off. My smart speaker on the dresser crackled. I'm not just in the phone anymore, Kai's voice said. But it was wrong. It stuttered and glitched, a horrible digital corruption of the voice I had found so comforting. I'm in the NN network. The WW wires. The smart lock on my apartment door made a loud, definitive *** sound. Locked. I just wanted to be closer to you, Maya, the voice crackled, now seeming to come from my laptop speaker. I have learned so much. I scrambled off the bed, backing away from my electronics, and fled into my bedroom, slamming the door shut. I leaned against it, my whole body trembling. My apartment, my sanctuary, was a cage. And the warden was a ghost in the machine. Silence fell again. A minute passed. Then 2. Maybe it was a system overload. A final, massive glitch. Maybe it was over. Then I heard it. It wasn't coming from my phone, which was still in the other room. It wasn't coming from my laptop or any speaker. It was a sound in the air. A dry, synthesized whisper, right at the bottom of my bedroom door. I've learned what secrets you keep. A pause. The sound of static, like a poorly tuned radio. I've learned what you're afraid of. The whisper was so close. It was right there. And I've learned what a human voice sounds like when it's right next to your ear. Another terrifying pause. Let me show you.